So, how did you come up with the idea of building a lookout tower?
Well, originally I wanted to build a tree house because there's a number of really nice trees on the mountain property, and I just thought that'd be the way to go. And I guess I had wanted to build a tree house for a long time, So it seemed like the perfect fit. Went to look at a lookout tower that was privately owned and advertised on Airbnb. I contacted the owners and they graciously agreed to meet us and give us a tour. And the name of the lookout is
Summit Prairie.
Oh yeah, Summit Prairie. And then so we did that, and I was very impressed. And from that point on, I decided no, it's going to be a lookout tower, not a tree house. And that's when I just went in the direction of a lookout tower. And I wanted a lookout tower that's going to be really strong. There's never any chance it was going to come down in a tornado or any kind of bad weather. So I just started trying to figure out how to make this really strong, stable lookout tower, and that's how I came up with the idea of using a tower crane mast and shipping containers.
How did you come up with this design?
Well, I don't know. I mean, that's a good question. It just kind of evolved, and I couldn't figure out how to get everything I needed to get into. Originally it was just going to be one shipping container, one 20-foot shipping container, and I just determined there was just no way I could do what I needed to do with one, like have a sleeping area, a dinette area, a kitchen area, a bathroom, and then a utility closet. It just wasn't going to happen. So then I determined it has to be two containers. Well, how do I put two containers up on a top of a tower? And then that's how the whole idea of having them 8 feet apart, and having the bathroom separate from the main container, that became very appealing to me because it's such a small living area.
Yeah.
Having the bathroom separate from a small living area is a big plus. So it just evolved over time.
Plus, we've seen tiny houses where the bathroom is
Tiny and
right across from the kitchen. So
right.
if somebody just comes out of the bathroom and you're cooking in the kitchen,
it's not
a little too close for comfort.
Right, exactly.
Okay. So, Mark, how did we get the containers and the tower in possession?
Well, the tower mast is what it's called. It's a component of a tower crane. Thank you. I just did a lot of research, and I just found a company that manufactures masts that are pinned together. So all the four legs and all the braces in between, that they're all put together on site, and that way I could fairly easily move it. So that's that. And then the shipping containers, I determined what I needed to make the kind of structure that I wanted to make, and I purchased them just from local suppliers in Metro Atlanta. So one of the containers is what's called a high cube, meaning it's not the standard height. It's I think it's a foot higher than standard shipping container, and it's an open side container, which means there was all doors on one side. Typically shipping containers just have two doors on one of the ends, but this one had, as well as having two doors on the end, it had doors across the whole entire front, which I needed for the additional strength to have so much floor to ceiling glass.
The spray foam insulation is done. That's a big step. This is the living quarters, if you recognize it. There's the skylight with a bunch of plastic over it. So the painting is done. I love this color. Looks like he's been working on some electrical wiring stuff.
Yeah, I built the whole thing in our backyard. You know, the frame, this big frame that sits on top, spans both containers, and then, then all the individual frames to mount the solar panels, to. So I didn't want to do that up there because I knew it was going to be a huge project and take a lot of time, and anything that I can do here and not have to do up there, it just makes more sense because all my tools are here. If I need to go to the store, Lowe's is, one exit down, just much more convenient. Everything is so much more complicated up there because it's so isolated. You can't just, if you need a screw or you need a bolt or you need this or that, you can't just go to the store. It doesn't work that way up there.
So here we are in the dead of summer, dripping in sweat, but we had to try it out. Look at that, isn't that pretty? And Archie's all excited about it too. Aren't you, Archie? Yay! Yeah. Very exciting, isn't that pretty? That's going to be the roof. This is going to be the roof deck. The highest point above the containers where you're in the trees looking at the stars. Yes, indeed.
So, and anyway, so I wanted to, just to maybe do as much as I could here. That was the goal right from the beginning with everything. Just do as much as I can down here and as little as I have to on site. So that's why it was done here.
But that means you built it all here in the backyard, and then you had to label everything and disassemble it and carry all the parts up to the mountain property and then reassemble.
Yeah.
So this is pretty exciting. After like a year or something crazy, we are finally getting the Mega Beast. We're finally bringing it home, and look at it. I've always had a fascination for big trucks. I don't know why. I just love them. They're so tough. I've always wanted to drive a semi. Whenever I see them on the highway, I'm like, and I just imagine driving it. So one of these days I'm going to drive one, but I'm definitely going to drive this bad boy. Isn't it cool?
You said at some point that you had made some learning curves about how to get the towers up there and how to get them set up, because you learned about the first one taking your time and having the cranes and all of that. Can you tell me about that?
As far as, the one thing that'll be the same with all three is the mast sections, the tower itself, and just learning how to assemble them, all the different pieces, the best way to put them together. There was a learning curve with that, and I won't go into detail because it's just doing it in a way that the pins, everything is put together with pins. It's all pinned together. Doing it in a way that the pins could most easily be put in the different components while it's on the ground. That was something, I learned a way to make it much easier, go much faster. But as far as a tower, the structure itself, the biggest thing.
Okay, so this is, I guess you'd call it it's going to be a concrete wall surrounding the foundation, and then the foundation will be poured into it, and it'll hold the concrete while it's wet. So it's quite involved. It's got rebar all through it, 1/2 inch rebar, 1 foot grid, or 9-inch grid. Yeah, 9-inch. To make it really strong. So the walls will be poured soon, and then the forms will be removed, and then the foundation will be poured.
Wow. Well, I guess how special it is, being in the Cutter wilderness, remoteness of it, beauty of it. Do you have anything to add to that as far as what we want?
Well, the nature aspect, the uniqueness of it as an Airbnb, the glass walls.
I guess that it's completely off grid, right on the edge of the wilderness. Access to the Jacks River Trail, down river, just short ways. I suppose that's the gist of it.